and you're doing things online, if you understand how to really listen to people and genuinely understand what the problem is and to solve the real problem, you can have a very significant outcome like
easy come, easy go.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Warrior Show. This is where we interview entrepreneurs, affiliate marketer, coaches, consultant, and in this amazing series today we have Katie Richardson. She is an entrepreneur, product designer, powerful speaker, coach, mom, wife, and innovator. She is the founder of Katie Richardson Coaching. She loves to inspire people. They become best, to become them best. She is globally recognized designer and entrepreneur. She helps CEOs to achieve greatness without sacrificing family, faith, or health. She's been featured on Ellen DeGeneres shows, Rachel Ray shows, and Today shows, and on Hour of Entrepreneurs magazine, and so on. So, without further ado, let's have Katie Richardson on the show. So, hi Katie, how are you?
doing amazing. How are you, Nilesh? Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm really glad to have you on the show and really excited to do this session with you because I know you are going to share lots of value with my audience. So, I'm really excited and
Yeah,
awesome.
let's do it. Let's jump in.
Yeah, so my voice is loud and clear.
Very. Yep. I can hear
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much. So, before we get started, could you tell us a little bit about yourself on how you got started so the people who don't know you, they know you?
Yeah. I think it's important to understand that, yes, I've been on the Ellen Show, the Rachel Ray Show, the Today Show, on the cover of Entrepreneur Magazine. I have built and sold a business that has physical products in 2,000 stores in the US and distribution into 26 different countries. But what people don't realize is I don't have a business degree, I don't have a marketing or communications degree. I am a product designer. And that's where I started. And I think when you understand problem solving, and this is the key right here. When you understand problem solving, genuinely listening to people and what the real problem is, and how to solve that problem in a innovative way that actually creates the outcome or result that they want, then life moves to support you and really significant and big things can happen. So if you're an online marketer and you're building funnels or you're helping create copy and you're doing things online, if you understand how to really listen to people and genuinely understand what the problem is and to solve the real problem, you can have a very significant outcome like I have had. So it's less about knowing the rules and more about really understanding how to listen to people and solve problems. And luckily, that's what I loved to do. So, as this young product designer who was a mother of three at the time when I started my first company, I was pregnant with the third at the time. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about international distribution, but I liked people and I liked helping people. That's always been my drive. And products that I had designed to solve problems for people was a way for me to add value into the world. And so I first did that with my company called Pudge, P-U-J, and designed and manufactured ideas that I just had in my head. That I would take that idea and I would sketch it out on a piece of paper. And I would take that sketch and I'm like, well, how would I make that? And I would take a piece of paper and I'm like, well, if it was shaped like this and you fold it like this, and I would make a small prototype out of paper. And then I would take that small prototype and I would pull maybe things out of my recycle bin. And I'm like, let's make a bigger prototype. And eventually I would start using fabrics and materials and start making a better prototype, and then a better prototype, and a prototype so good that I could then take it to a store buyer and say, hey, what do you think of this? And they would say, that's really, really cool. How many can you make? So it's this process of really understanding what people's problem is and solving it in a way that it genuinely creates the result that they want. And I was really fortunate to be able to do this on a really significant level.
Super. That is a great point you mentioned because Problem solving is something that is literally a main point, main keyword. If we really wanted to grow into this entrepreneurship in online business or anything, you have to know the problem of market and be a good listener that you mentioned right now. That's a great point you mentioned. So guys, make sure you take notes and if you haven't done, grab your pen and paper or open the notepad if you are attending from your laptop or from anywhere. So as you are helping top CEOs, entrepreneurs to power up their and power themselves and to achieve them a greatness. So they achieve the greatness without sacrificing the family, health, or faith. So, what is the framework you follow or you teach? What is the specific thing you teach to those people?
Okay, you want the magic?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to draw something out for you. Um, we
I'm
can kind of
excited.
we can kind of move through our life and do what we think we're supposed to do. And that will create a life that somebody else wants for you. And at our heart, at our core, we don't want that. We want something different. We want the thing that we want. I don't know why I'm desiring the thing that I want, but that's what I desire, right? And oftentimes as entrepreneurs, it includes a certain level of freedom and independence, right? We're very driven by that. Being a master of our own domain, managing our own time, being in charge of our own life, living where we want to live. We have all of those things that we want. And so, in order to create that life, you have to start to define it and get really clear on what does that dream life actually look like for you. And the more that you can define that life and the business and the products that you're going to make and how it helps people, the more that you could define that, the more you are empowered to create it. So, what I show people how to do is to get really, really clear on where is it that you're going. And I call it your North Star. Hold on, let me see. Okay, we've got this North Star, and we want to define this North Star. What does it look like? And guess what? You're looking out into the future and you're like, well, I don't totally know. So the trick is to give your best guess. Okay, give your best guess on where it is that you're going. And it's far, it's very far from where you are. And maybe there's nothing in your reality that says that that's even possible for somebody like you, right? And that can be intimidating, but that doesn't matter. That's not a requirement. So, what is it that you want? And define it as best you can. And then there's another question that you need to answer. So, in order to orient ourselves in any one direction, how many points do we need? How many points, Nilesh? How many points do we need? To get from
Uh,
where we are to where we want to go, how many points do you need? Like, okay,
yeah,
if you're looking for help from Siri to navigate you somewhere, she needs 2 points on, or sorry, I just gave the answer. How many points does she need on the map?
one is clarity, and
She needs two
second one is
points. She
two
needs to
one. So,
know she needs to know where you are and
yeah,
where you
and
want
where
to
you
go.
want to go.
Yes. And very often, people are very good at defining this, where they want to go, right? That North Star, that vision and that dream. They're forgetting about this, acknowledging where they are, and actually really defining that. If you tell Siri to navigate you to, I don't know, um, the uh, the Empire State Building in New York,
Yes.
she needs to know where you are because where you are
Mhm.
is going to determine how you get there. Let this sink in. So, if you are have one of the points of what do I want, that's your North Star. I'm showing you two questions that you need to ask yourself.
Please.
What do I want? Begin to define that. That's your North Star.
Right.
Okay? What do I want?
What do I want?
What do I want? Okay, cool, awesome,
Yeah.
exciting. How am I going to get there? You need to ask
Mhm.
another question, which is who must I be?
Right.
Who do I need to be?
Mhm.
Let me share a really tactical example of this.
Yes.
So, I have made a decision on my values and what kind of family I'm creating, right? Because I could create the default life for my family, but I've made a decision that I want to be really intentional in my life. And we are an adventurous family. Like when my boys were 3, 5, and 7, I made a decision that we were all going to move to Taiwan for a time because my husband was having to travel there frequently and he needed to be there for like 3 weeks. And I was like, what if we all go? And so within a week, I'd gotten my kids passports the same day. I figured out how to do that. Same day passports. I found us a place to live in the financial district of Taipei, Taiwan, and we moved there. And we like very much were living our value of adventure. We're an adventurous family. We like to explore, see the world, go do new things. And, recently I was recognizing that we have not been living this value of being an adventurous family.
Right.
And it was time for change. Like, I've lived in the same place for about 15 years and very comfortable here, maybe a little too comfortable. And I noticed that I was too comfortable. And I know that growth and everything that I want that excites me in life is outside of my comfort zone. And I was like, wow, well, I'm a little too comfortable. It's time for some change. So I talked to my husband. I said, hey, what if we move? Like, I don't know, to Puerto Rico. And I said, so we were talking about it. He was excited about it too. But neither one of us had been there. And there's 6 of us in our family. I didn't want to do what I was most excited about. I wanted to do what was best for the family, right? My oldest is a senior in high school. So I send my husband to Puerto Rico and I said, I need you to go and make a decision whether or not this is the best move for all 6 of us. So he goes to Puerto Rico. And within being there for 24 hours, he calls me and he says, okay, Katie, 100%. This is the best. This is the best decision for all of us. And I was like, okay, do you mean that? He said, yeah. I said, okay, when we hang up, I'm buying 6 one-way tickets to Puerto Rico. Let's leave in 2.5 weeks, and we need to find a place to live. Giddy up. And so this was me answering this
Yeah.
question: who do I want to be? I want to be the woman who lives outside of her comfort zone. I want to be the woman who teaches her kids that there's a very big world out there and teaches them to speak another language, right?
Yeah,
I would
that
love
is
to
a
hear.
mind blowing thing. That is a mind blowing thing because when you mention who you are and where you want to go, this is something remind me by Russell Brunson value letter. One thing, then second is by Myron Golden. This is concept that I learned from Myron Golden in his 5 day challenge that be a value person. If you want to be the 7 figure person, if you want to achieve the 7 figure, hang out with the 8 figure people. This is something that I can relate that yes, you are definitely where you want to go and decide where you are right now. That is a mind blowing point. Super. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
So, as you are mindset coach and you are coach all the CEOs related to mindset stuff, all about the mindset, right? So, what is the one piece of advice you share with all those CEOs because they have different level of mindset, they are achieving the great result into their business, but what is the thing that they want, still they want a mindset thing into their business, into their life?
The one thing that I share with all of my CEOs,
Yeah.
you have to understand how to tell the brutal truth. That's the one thing I would say I share with all of them. We have this tendency to ignore the truth, ignore the reality, either the reality of what it is that we actually want, and we haven't been taking action that lines up with that thing that we want, or the reality of that you know what's happening inside of my business is not okay, and telling the brutal truth that that's not okay with me anymore, and I've been putting up with too much, and it's time to make changes. Maybe it's time for me to clean house. Maybe it's time for me to be living my values. So understanding how to live the brutal truth, I know that's not an answer that a lot of people like to hear, but it's a thing that if you can get really, really good at telling the truth, you can start to transform your life, because when you tell the truth, it hurts, it stings, and it requires us to make change. So the greatest obstacle to anybody having the business and life that they want is right here. It's right here. Your mind is the thing that's stopping you. It's thoughts. Maybe it's fear of what my parents are going to say, or it's fear of what my spouse is going to say, or fear of what my friends are going to think, or my colleagues and peers. What are they going to say? What are they going to think? Your mind is the thing that will either propel you forward or stop you from making progress. So, learning to use the mind and your thoughts in a way that it helps you tell the truth, acknowledge the reality of what is and what you want, and then taking action that lines up with those 2 points that we talked about.
Wow, that is mind blowing.
Hold on, Nilesh. Your audio kind of faded out.
Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah. So that is a great point. That is a literally a mind blowing point you just mentioned with us. Like clear what you have, and that is a great. So many times people, specifically new entrepreneurs, are only focused on money and they don't work on their growth or their mindset. So and they just focus towards money, money, money. So what is your suggestion to those people?
Um, Money is a really interesting thing. It's not good,
Yes,
it's not bad, it just is. It's a magnifier. And
definitely.
and if you can create thoughts of prosperity and abundance, then you begin to create a reality of prosperity and abundance. I'm a product designer and I understand creation, and there are two phases to creation. First, the spiritual creation, meaning the creation of the mind. It just lives in our head. It's just an idea, a thought. You can't hold it in your hand yet. And then the second phase of creation is to take that spiritual idea, that thought, and do the actions required to make it something real that you can hold in your hand. And suddenly it's a physical thing that people that you can touch and play with and interact with. You can touch and play and interact with. And the same is true with your business and your life. It first starts as a thought. And if you can start at the core, at the beginning, at the first phases of creation, and get really clear on your thoughts and your mind and what you're thinking, even when it comes to money, and shift and change your thinking around money. So if you have broken thoughts around money, you're going to create a broken bank account. And if you're constantly paying attention to and noticing your 20-year-old car, and the fact that your account is overdrafted, and that client stopped working with you, if that's what you're focused on, you feel small, you feel diminished, and you feel frustrated around money. If you can start to find evidence of abundance in your life right now today, and find appreciation and gratitude for that abundance, as small as it is, if you can acknowledge the abundance in your life right now today, and then you start to grow that abundance. But if you ignore and diminish the abundance and prosperity in your life right now, there's no room for more to show up. You're already pushing out what is there. You're pushing it out, and you're welcoming the scarcity.
Yeah, that is a literally mind blowing and great point you just share with us right now. So, after running successful business or business, successful physical business, what motivates you to shift your niche to coaching?
When I started my company 15, 16, 17 years ago, the world was really different back then. It's interesting. Like Facebook was just coming online, Instagram didn't even exist, Stripe wasn't a thing, funnels were not a thing. To build a website, you had to hire a developer. Like it was a different world. And there was a lot that I didn't know. I didn't know business, I didn't know marketing, but I knew people and I knew problem solving. And because I approached things from a really different way, right? I didn't do what the experts said you should do. I approached it from a genuine place of problem solving and adding value. I built my company in a really different way, and it created amazing results. It did. And I feel very fortunate that I was able to discover the things that I discovered on my journey. And I watch other people getting caught up in the trap of the hustle, hustle, grind mentality, of the put my head down and sacrifice everything, including their marriage, sacrificing their relationship with their kids, sacrificing their health, sacrificing their spirituality. And the reality is, you don't have to do it in that way. It doesn't have to destroy you. And I watched too many people that I love and care about who had amazing ideas and businesses. And ultimately, maybe it destroyed their marriage, maybe it destroyed their health. And I thought that's really unfortunate, because if they just understood these principles that I discovered as I was building my business, you can actually have the family, the health, the significant impact, the fulfilling work. You can have all of those things. It takes some thought and intention and design even. But if you can understand these principles and organize your life in that way, you can achieve those things that you want and do it in a way that is faster than you imagine. Right? You can get to that North Star. You can. And 6 months ago, when I moved my family to Puerto Rico, I was like, holy cow, if the Katie of 18 years ago, it like gets me choked up, Nilesh. I had no business experience. I knew nothing about marketing. I just had an idea. That was it. But I had the faith, the fire to take action on that idea. I had no idea at the time that it would lead me to this point of living a very exciting life where I'm working 12 to 15 hours a week, right? Very part time. And I'm getting paid very well to do the things that I do. I'm very good at the things that I do. I love the people that I help and serve. I'm very fulfilled by my work, and I'm able to provide this life where my kids are homeschooling, they're out there surfing, spearfishing, scuba diving. I mean, we're meeting amazing people like John Lee Dumas and Allison Prince. They're my neighbors. Like, we're friends. We hang out at the beach club. So the fact, like, if I could have told the Katie of 18 years ago, guess what? Keep going. I know this feels kind of ridiculous and you feel stupid. And like what you're doing is never going to work. But keep going, because someday life's going to be so much greater than you ever imagined possible for you. And if you have the faith to keep going when you have those failures, because guess what? I've had so many failures. And I've made a decision to learn from those failures and keep going. And if you can learn from those experiences, because life will teach you the lessons that you need. It will, if you learn from those experiences. So learn from those experiences and implement what you're learning. I'll give you a really profound example. I was developing a product in private for almost 2 years, physical product that I wanted to get patented. If you want to get something patented, you can't just go share it with the world. Like, you've just let the cat out of the bag. So in secret, I'm developing this product for almost 2 years, and it's self-funded. I didn't have any investors. We're living on food storage. I'm grinding wheat, making 4 loaves of bread a week to feed my family. I had like $120 a month, and that was for diapers and food and grocery, like nothing. I was living on nothing. And I take this product to a trade show thinking this is the moment. It's all gonna take off here. And Nilesh, I came home with 0 orders. Not one person placed an order. I was talking to Target and Costco and Nordstrom. None of them bought the product. I was ready to give up. I was tired. I was exhausted. I'd invested time, energy, and money. I felt embarrassed, like it was a complete and total failure. And fortunately, my husband really believed in me. And he taught me a really important lesson, because I had all of this proof and evidence that I had tried. I'd put all this effort in and I had failed, right? It was game over. And he said, Katie, they didn't all tell you no. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I was there talking to them. Nobody placed an order. They all said no. And he said, well, but they were asking you questions that you didn't know the answers to. So all we need to do is answer those questions and take it back to them. Answer those questions and they'll all buy this product. Answer those questions and we'll be shipping this product all over the world. Katie, you didn't fail. What you did is you brought us home a perfect blueprint to success. You see, because I had had the courage to go to this trade show and be in conversation with all of these store buyers, they literally were handing me all the requirements, what's required to be a merchant inside of their companies. And so I literally went and I answered all of the questions they asked me, like, do you carry insurance? What are your lead times? What's your wholesale price? What's your retail price? What does the retail package look like? So I went and I answered all of those questions. I took it back to the trade show, and literally everybody placed an order. Within 1 year, I'd done over $1 million wholesale. That's $2 million retail value. Because I didn't give up and I took my failure and I looked at it as a blueprint. And I said, what can I learn from this? How can I implement it?
Learn from failure. What a crazy line I have. And this one thing that you mentioned here is your husband have believe in you, and he mentioned that the people whom you are reaching out, they're not said you no, they just don't They just ask you a question and you don't have an answer. This is something that so many entrepreneurs have to understand, that if someone is not responding you, that is not a no for you. You just have to do a follow up once again. This is a great point you develop, share with us right now. So many time entrepreneurs have a lot of limiting belief, as you just answer talking about this. Entrepreneurs have lot of limiting belief about themselves, and they are stuck at some point. So how they move forward?
Yeah. So when you're starting your company and your business and even growing your business, you have pretty regular thoughts, stories, and beliefs about yourself. And they become this well worn loop of thinking. And for me, it was things like, you're not an expert, and nobody really cares about your ideas. And you're not one of those people who plays big. And you have too many things going on, right? We have these thoughts and beliefs that make us feel small and insignificant. And if you want to play with the big boys, you got to go pro. And I had to literally change my thoughts and become that pro CEO in my mind. And I had to think like a professional CEO. So while I was shipping product out of my garage, I called it the warehouse. And so when somebody called customer service, which was me, and was asking questions about um, product, I would say, let me check with the warehouse, which meant, let me talk to my husband. And it was me. And like, I was in the basement, like my office was an extra bedroom in the basement. And on the door, it said headquarters, global headquarters. Like, you have to think like a professional. And it's not about lying and making up stories and fake it till you make it. No, it's about genuinely believing in yourself and seeing a vision of the future and bringing it into the reality now. So that was my global headquarters. Can I tell you, within 12 months, it literally was the global headquarters. And very quickly, we had to move into a 10,000 square foot warehouse. And it's because I first created it in my mind, and I acted from that place of being a pro CEO and thinking like a CEO, and not thinking like a mom who was doing this in between naps and shipping out of her garage, right? And so it's shifting your thinking and your belief and acknowledging the stories that you're telling yourself and shifting those thoughts. The greatest obstacle to what it is that you want is right here. So how do we remove
Yeah.
that obstacle? It's by changing it, thinking new thoughts, thinking new beliefs about ourselves. And when we do that, we remove the roadblocks and we literally move into this place of flow.
This is a something mind blowing, and everything is in here. Everything is here. Definitely,
Yeah.
I love this point, and thank you so much for this. So it was not something like every single day we have the same energy to do work. Sometimes we felt like that I don't want to do work today, or
Yeah.
I don't want to go for or go to my office. So what you do in that situation?
The first thing you need to know is you don't have to feel like doing it in order to do it.
Yep.
Like, that's the first. You don't have to feel like doing it. In fact, the greatest way to feel like doing it is to start doing it. And then all of a sudden, the excitement will start to show up, the focus will start to be there. So it's not a requirement to be excited about it. And especially when you are young in your business and you have two, three, or four employees, you're going to be doing a lot of things and wearing a lot of the hats. And so if you can understand that I don't have energy, I create it. So in the morning, I go to the gym in the mornings, and that's because I have learned that exercise creates energy for me. So when my alarm goes off in the morning, my uh, amateur mind wants to say, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like going to the gym." And my pro CEO mind says, "Yeah, that's why we go to the gym, is to create the energy." And I listen to the pro CEO, right? I don't listen to the amateur. The amateur's going to have me stuck and frustrated and not being able to move ahead of my competition. So I want to listen to the pro CEO in my mind that says, you go to the gym to create the energy. That's why we go. So understanding the voice in your head and navigating your thoughts, because our thoughts have us feeling a certain way, and then we take action from that place of feeling. And if our thoughts have us feel insignificant and like we're a nobody, then we're going to take action as an insignificant nobody. And that's the result that we will create in our life. The sun's coming out right now and it's like really hitting me. Hold on, let me try and move my desk.
Yeah, sure.
And so if you can shift your thinking, because that's where you're creating your reality is in your mind. So shift your thinking. And this is so much more than manifesting. Manifesting sounds cool and exciting. It's not the only piece. You have to literally move into action. And so, yes, you want to be aware of your thoughts and think these powerful thoughts, and your actions have to line up and support that thinking. Otherwise, nothing in your life is going to change.
Definitely. That is something our mind stop us so many times. Like, okay, don't you don't have to go to gym today. Just rest. Yesterday you did too much work. You don't need to wake up early. This is kind of mindset stop us from our growth. But the pro CEO mindset you mentioned is something great, super. So you are the host of this particular show. What's working now?
Yes.
uh, right, so and you bring so many expert in your show, like
Yeah.
I find so many top entrepreneurs whom I follow and learn so many things from those. So what is your key takeaways from any five top entrepreneurs that you have on your on your show, any five or three you want to share?
Yeah. I'm noticing a trend. And it's something that I was interested in 18 years ago when I first started my journey, but I didn't notice other people acknowledging the importance of it. When I started my business, I wanted a really big business and I wanted success and I wanted to get my ideas out into the world. But I was afraid that it might mean sacrificing my marriage, sacrificing my relationship with my kids, sacrificing my health. Like I saw a lot of examples of people who had done really amazing things inside of their business, but in their personal life, it was totally destroyed. And I wasn't okay with that. I didn't want that. I didn't want that kind of a broken life. I wanted the big impact, and I wanted to continue to be madly in love with my husband like I was in the beginning. And so I took a different approach. And for a long time it was interesting because there was this glorification of being busy, this glorification of the hustle hustle grind mentality, and it was like just put your head down and build your business, and when you get to a million, 2 million, 10 million, then you can, spend more time with your family and be with your kids. And the sad truth is people do that, the family's not there anymore. They're like, obviously I'm not a priority to you, obviously you don't care about us, and it breaks up the family. And so I became curious about this 18 years ago and have built an amazing life. And the trend that I'm noticing on what's working now is people want the life that I have. And a couple months ago, I interviewed my 18-year-old son. He's a man now. He's an adult. And when I started this business, he was 4 years old. And so it's, when I started the company and built it the way that I did, it was, in a way, it was like this social experiment. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And yet I look at him and the amazing man that he is, and the ability that he has to problem solve, and even his knowledge of finances and business and strategizing and problem solving. Like, it's really amazing to see the relationship that I have with him, the relationship that he has with his dad, and the relationship that me and my spouse have, and how I'm still madly in love with my husband in a way that I never had was even at the beginning, right? And so in a way, I've been able to kind of, I don't feel like I'm at the finish line, but I've been able to look back at the last 18 years and really assess, how have I done? And I'm really proud of the life that we have built. And I'm really grateful that I was able to do it in this way. So the trend that I'm seeing is people don't just want a successful business anymore. That's not enough. They want the life that comes with that. And they want the successful life as well. And they want work that is meaningful. Money is great if you have it, but on its own, it's meaningless. And if you don't have the relationships and the meaningful work, then it's meaningless. The money is. So people want, they want meaning, They want momentum, right? They want to see progress and growth, and they want the money to finance all of that. So that's the trend that I'm seeing, those 3 M's: meaning, momentum, and money. And like, there is a way to do it, and that's what I show people how to do.
Super. 3M, meaning, momentum, and money. Literally awesome.
Yeah.
So, guys, here we are for a few more minutes. So, if you have any query, you can ask us into the comment section. So, where do people find you, Katie?
You can find me. I'm really active on Instagram, katie.live. I
Yes.
post to my stories almost every day, and I
Oh,
post meaningful content. And I'm always showing you how to grow your business, because if the business is not growing and you don't have those resources, then you can't create the life and the relationships that you want. And so I'm always talking about business. I'm sharing strategies, I'm sharing mindset and how you can set up your thinking in a way to really support you. You can also go to my website, katierichardson.com. You
yeah.
definitely want to download my podcast, What's Working Now, and go listen to that. In fact, start at the beginning. Listen to the first 8 episodes, and you'll hear my journey. And it will really inspire you in your own life, in your own business, to create something that maybe doesn't seem possible. Because when I started my business, that life that I wanted, where not only was I creating big impact in the world through my business, but also being able to be really present with my spouse and kids, I didn't have a model for that. I couldn't find somebody who proved that it was possible. And it scared me. It really terrified me. And one day I had a new thought, and I'm a woman of faith. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power, and I believe.
Hello.
Sorry, lost you for a second.
No
The
worries.
new thought was, you don't see that model, that proof and evidence that what you want is possible, but you can create her. And so from the beginning, I was creating a pro CEO. I wasn't her at the time, but I was making decisions to be her in my meetings. I was making decisions to be her in my interactions with Target and Costco, as I was talking to my manufacturers. And that's it's different than faking it. It's a decision. And I was making a decision to be this pro CEO and to shift my thinking and to line that up with taking action towards what it is that I want.
Superb, superb. And thank you so much once again, Katie, for sharing tons of golden nuggets with my audience and me. So before we wrap up the show, any three pieces of advice for to the new entrepreneurs from your journey, from your experience into this business?
Yeah, 3 pieces of advice for somebody who's just getting started?
Yeah,
Is that what you said? Okay. The first is to define what it is that you want and where you're going. And if you can define that and put it on paper, it might terrify you. It might scare you. And that's okay. So create that on paper, set it down, and then stay focused on what's right in front of you. So, what are 1, 2, 3 steps that you can take today that actually line up with that long term vision? But you can stay focused right here, because looking so far into the future, it there's a big gap between now and where you want to go, and it can be really frustrating to see that gap. So be here right now and look at what are the next 2, 3 steps that I can take that will help me get there. That's the first thing.
right.
The second is to answer that question, what do I want? Right? And who must I be? Who do I need to be? We are so focused on our actions and what we're doing. We're not even stopping to ask this question, who must I be, in order to accomplish and achieve those things. So
Yes.
we have to answer that question. Who must I be? Who do I need to
Yeah.
be to accomplish those things? And then the last thing I would say is, get out of your head and start telling the truth. The brutal truth of where you are, what it is that you want, and stop living the life that you think you should or are supposed to live.
Crazy pieces of advice, and literally, if someone can implement this advice, definitely their life going to be changed and the mindset, their business is skyrocket. So thank you so much once again, Katie, for sharing tons of golden nugget with my audience and with me. Really grateful for to have you on the show. So I'll be joining you in a minute. Till then, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Nilesh. It's been an honor.
Thank you. Bye bye. So there you go, guys. There you go. She's a Katie Richard, Katie, and she shared tons of golden nuggets out there with you and with us. So please show your love to Katie and in the comment section and share your biggest takeaway. What is the one thing that you learned and going to implement into your business? So if you are watching me right now, I'm really grateful for RJ, Mohit, Daniel, or who is with us on live. Thank you so much once again. And if you are not or not a part of my Facebook group, please you can be a part of it. I'll drop this podcast, this interview inside this group. So till then, Nilesh Jain signing off. I'll be coming up with a new episode on the Entrepreneurs Warrior Show. Bye bye.